This is Tyrese Halliburton, and you're listening to Setting the Pace.
What is up, Pacer Nation? Welcome back to another episode here of your go-to Pacers podcast, Setting the Pace. I'm your host, Alex Golden, and joining me today, he's back, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a little pep in his step. It is Michael J. Facci. The Pacers are victorious in Summer League against the New York Knicks. It feels good to beat the Knicks, no matter if it's the playoffs, regular season, or Summer League.
Win feels good. It just feels a little bit better beating the Knicks. I'm not going to lie. Just to be a little bit of a troll, I sent the box score to plenty of my Knicks friends who I knew they didn't care about this game at all. And I said, beat you once again. It's probably going to be a couple months before you even have the chance to beat us again. So I got them a little bit fired up. But yeah, Summer League, 91-88 battle with the Pacers. I think this is a forgettable lineup, but there were still some positive moments.
Yeah, for sure. And I will just say this. Let's be honest here. 4:30 games are very hard for us because I don't even get off work at 4:30. I didn't get off work till 5:45 tonight. So I really didn't get a chance to fully watch this. I did watch some highlights, which was
Yes.
great to see, but I feel bad because I want to give a good perspective of what I actually saw, but I can't really give you much more than just some, you know, a little bit of here and there highlight clip stuff. But looking at a box score, I definitely think that it does highlight some things. But can I just say, like, my biggest takeaway from Summer League right now?
What do you got?
The two games Johnny Furphy barely played in, the Pacers won. The two that he did play in, they lost.
That's interesting. That is very interesting. And I think it's hard to read into the wins and losses here, but I think that yeah, no, it's definitely true. I mean, he gets elbowed in the head. It ended up being a great win against the Cavs, but it was great to see him out there. His dunk, I'm not gonna make it seem like I've watched a lot of summer league of other teams. His dunk might have been the moment of summer league.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, it really might have been the play if you could boil summer league down into just one play. So Furphy, hey, that was awesome. But I think you can also see we saw enough out of Quenton Jackson in game one that the Pacers didn't play him ever since, and kind of getting a look at the rest of this roster. Now, speaking of just the last two games, Kam Jones has looked really good. He really has. This is the guy that we are excited to have drafted. It was good to see. 9 of 19. It's a forgettable shooting performance, but at the same point, like, it's not terrible. This is 40 something percent, probably roughly 45. I'm not great with math, but 21 points, 11 assists, just one turnover from your rookie combo guard. I love it. I think this is a good confidence boosting type of performance where a couple games ago I went, yeah, it's probably not a guy who's going to play too much this year. Till now, all of a sudden, it's like, hey, an emergency pinch, Kam Jones, you're growing on me.
Yeah, you know what's really funny is I was watching him play and like that left-handed, shot that he has and the way he uses his left, predominantly. I don't know why, but it was kind of giving me like shades of CJ Miles a little bit. And I think
Perfect.
maybe because CJ Miles has been like replying to a lot of stuff
I was
recently.
about to say the same thing. I
Yeah.
saw him swoop in there with a couple Nemhard photos.
Yeah.
It felt like it's like, I don't know if maybe that kind of had it in the back of your head.
Maybe so, but like also, I think I was just thinking about that era quite a bit, and I was seeing like when he was driving to the basket, that did remind me of CJ. The shot reminded me of CJ a little bit more, not as smooth, but
Yeah,
kind of shades of that. I will say, it kind of felt like a little bit of like a mixture of Rodney Stuckey with a mixture of CJ Miles. Not saying that the exact same player, but I kind of felt like that's what I was seeing a little bit.
okay. All right. I mean, hey, look, I think CJ Miles had a very solid career in the NBA. Stucky, he had some moments. But for Kam Jones, I thought the last two performances, like I said, very much gave me like a confidence boost to say, like, okay, you know what? I don't think anyone's expecting him to take on any sort of role in specific this year, but like this is what you want to see out of your top draft pick. So I liked what I saw. The 3-point shooting has been very up and down, very up and down. 2 games ago was really good. I want to say it was maybe 4 or 5 from three. This game, 2 of 7. There was a previous performance where I think he was like 0 of 6. So, having the threes haven't looked great, but we know this guy can get to the rim. So that's been great to see. And then on the other side of things, or just like the main debate that I think we've had in summer league is that final two-way spot. Enrique Freeman, Taelon Peter. We see Taelon Peter into the starting lineup. Enrique Freeman has the experience. Do you think we're going to get any answers? Do you think it's going to come down to the Pelicans game, or is this going to have to mean maybe, I don't know, a tough decision? I can't envision them cutting um, Tony Bradley right now. I really can't.
No, I mean they don't have to because they still can use somebody on like they
Right.
could sign somebody to a standard contract. I wonder about this, and this is maybe just me thinking out loud, but I wonder if they sign Quenton Jackson to a
It would make a
standard
lot of sense.
contract.
He's if any of the two-way guys are worthy of a standard contract, it's Quenton Jackson. We saw this guy log legitimate starts, have games where he put up 20 points, played good defense. I feel like he totally could be signed to a standard contract if you do let go Tony Bradley, and then there's the shuffle of the two ways where, Enrique Freeman can get a spot, Taelon Peter can get a spot, and there's no one else in debate.
Yeah, I mean, with Bradley's contract being non-guaranteed, you could just swap out him for Quenton Jackson. I think James Wiseman has like a partial guarantee on it, so it's not fully guaranteed. So it just depends on which direction they want to go. And I mean, I know fans don't want to hear about James Wiseman getting cut at this point, but I'm just thinking out loud. I mean, they could just sign somebody to an Exhibit 10 deal. If they want to bring Taelon Peter on as an Exhibit 10 guy, they could. But I just kind of go back to what I saw from Kevin Pritchard on that comment to Caitlin Cooper when he gave her a thumbs up when she said that Taelon Peter should get the final two-way spot. I don't think he did that on purpose, on accident. So I think he did it on purpose.
Look, like I said, the thumbs up heard around the world. That's what it was. Okay, I'm not backing down from that. But second of all, it was a premature thumbs up. I will say that the first two games of Summer League, Taelon Peter looked like it was like there was a lot there, and it's like we're not going to go off of just like scoring, more than just a score. But I feel like the first two games, it looked like, all right, there's definitely something here. In a game like this, yeah, he's a +1. Enrique Freeman is a team high +21. I
Yeah.
feel like Freeman has brought it. Missed some free throws late in this game that, Pacers kind of needed, and it all worked out. But 18 points, 10 boards, 4 assists. The 3-point shooting has definitely been improved. He was
Mhm.
1 of 2 in this game. He was 2 of 2 a couple games ago. I think the other game was like 2 of 3 from 3. So like, he has added on to his game. He is obviously more experienced, four-year guy, walk on, rebounding, college rebound leader. Been in the league for an extra year. It makes sense if you do waive Tony Bradley, shift Quenton Jackson. You're still having another center on a two-way. I think it's something that we're gonna have to keep our eye on, at least in training camp.
It's interesting to me. I was gonna say this too quickly about Enrique Freeman. I just feel like he's kind of undersized for a 5, and I
I've
think
always thought that.
I have
Just
too. I mean, the guy can rebound the basketball. Had us a great story, right? I mean, nothing against him, but like even those guys that we liked before, like Terry Taylor, right? Like he was an undersized 4, and they compared his metrics to Thad Young, and they love Thad Young, right? Remember how much they praised Thad Young and everything he meant to this team? I just kind of feel like when you look at Enrique Freeman, I think Caitlin Cooper actually put this out today as well. Like, I wish they would have played him at the 4 some so we could see what he looks like as a power forward. And you talk about the improved shot. I mean, they used the halftime score, I believe it was, as Enrique Freeman shooting a jumper as a picture. And like, he's only shooting it with one hand, basically. Like, he definitely looks like he belongs in like the 1960s ABA
yeah.
school, how
Oh,
he's
yeah.
shooting the basketball. I mean, that's how they used to shoot it back then. So, I don't know. I just kind of feel like maybe if they don't feel like he's ever going to amount to like that 5 in the NBA, like he's kind of like a tweener and they really don't need that right now. Maybe you just give it to Taelon Peter, you keep Quenton Jackson on it, and you go the guard route because obviously
I
you're
think so.
basically using all of your two-way guys as your guard potential for Halliburton not playing, and that kind of could be the cheaper route instead of going the disabled player exception, spending a bunch of money on the tax. I just think that can make more sense to me because you only can play in 50 games or dress him for 50 games, so you might dress one guy for 32 and the other one for 50, so they're always dressed to have a third-string point guard, and that could be between Ray J and Quentin, But if one of them gets hurt, maybe you have Taylor in there. I'm just kind of thinking out loud, you know what I mean? So that's how I would look at it. But at the end of the day, you just got to be smart with it. I like Enrique Freeman as a player. I mean, look what they did with Oscar Tshiebwe. I mean, this guy won the Rookie of the Year in the G League and they cut him. So undersized, big. It just okay. Move on to the next one.
Just such an uphill battle. And I mean, I don't want there to be disrespect in this, but I feel like Enrique Freeman could have a really good career overseas. I've said that before. I'll say it again. I really do feel like Enrique Freeman could make a lot of money overseas and put up some really good numbers. But in the NBA, it's a small group. It really is a small group of players. Spots are really hard to come by. And I just feel like he is potential two-way material, but not like standard NBA contract material. And I feel like Enrique Freeman's biggest contribution, he wasn't asked to do much, was that free throw that he hit in the playoffs. When he came in there, he actually didn't play a second. It was that technical free throw that he hit. That was big, but like that is the Enrique Freeman highlight in the NBA. And I just don't necessarily know if there's going to be another one. So I stand by. We're both on the same page. Enrique Freeman, it's just hard to ever imagine him being able to contribute to this team. While right now, the idea of Taelon Peter feels to be a little bit more intriguing.
Well, and let's just look at it this way too. They think that there's 4 centers they'd rather have above him in the depth chart right now on the roster. So
Yeah. I mean,
it just kind of shows you where he's at.
It's 4 centers, and 2 of their Achilles have been, been pretty damaged in a while. So it basically, that almost feels like a whole nother center in front of you to say, we'd rather take these guys at 80% than you as our 5th. I would say.
And let's be honest here, I'm not sure what team's going to use their 2-way spot on Enrique Freeman if he doesn't.
I know
that's up with the Pacers, and they could just bring him back on a G League deal. I mean, they could do that as well. He might get picked up somewhere. I'm not saying he won't. I'm just saying there's a possibility he doesn't. So
Cole Swider was that guy that, like, when Cole Swider got let go, I remember he got picked up
by the Pistons quickly.
Yeah, and I remember like, whoa, they wasted no time. Yeah. Like, he was picked up right away. And
but he was an Exhibit 10. He wasn't a 2-way.
Yeah, there was a part of me that was like, oh, did we make the right move? Did we regret it? And like, I don't lose sleep over that anymore. I don't. But there was a quick moment in time.
Facci lost the pep in his step because Cole Swider was going to the Pistons.
A little drip of sweat came down the forehead, and I went, did we just make a mistake? But everything worked out. I trust the front office. If they make a decision on their 2-ways, it's because they have evaluated these players far more closely than any of us have.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and they know exactly what they're doing. Like, they see what they're doing outside of the games too, like what they're doing work-wise. And I mean, I think Enrique Freeman's a fine player. I just, I wouldn't be mad if they put him on a 2-way and kind of decided what they wanted to do with Taelon Peter. Like, I'm not that attached to Taelon Peter, but I did like his off-ball movement, his defensive cutting, things like, or defensive movement as well. Off-ball cutting is what I like. The defensive,
for the
switching.
Game. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I just, when you pick somebody that late in the draft, it's really hard to like expect much outside of like, okay, 2-way deal, spend a lot of time with the Noblesville Boom, and that's kind of that. But yeah, the Enrique Freeman experience has been good. I mean, I feel like he's played well. It's not like he's been terrible. I mean, I've had friends text me and say that he's probably looked like the best in the game sometimes. So
if he didn't have, I like the idea of Taelon Peter. If there wasn't Taelon Peter here, I would totally be like, hey, Enrique Freeman has put in that work and gotten better because he has.
Can I give you a really bad pop culture reference from like 15, 20 years ago, maybe at this point? Kind of reminds me of Corbin Bleu from High School Musical.
You hit me with the High School Musical once. I was lost. I can't even remember what analogy I said. I don't remember what I said. I was wrong. I don't know, Bearcats or Thundercats or something.
Oh, you had the wrong name, or the Wildcats.
Cougars, I thought it was the Cougars. That's what it was. Yeah. So it's like I saw the first one once, but I'm sure there's probably
Corbin Bleu though, right?
If I saw a picture, I would probably.
He just gives me Corbin Bleu vibes, and it's just kind of like this undersized.
Okay, I know exactly what he's got the afro, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Who else has the afro on the TV?
Well, I'm starting to think in my head. Okay, it's clearly not Zac Efron.
Well, obviously.
Well, I got like 2 characters in my head. 3 of them count the girl.
Not the blonde that sings.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, it's clearly not the girl. It's not Zac Efron. It's got to be the guy with the afro. So
it's clearly not the girl.
Yeah, so that I got 3 in my head. That's all I got. So I think it is a good analogy in terms of like, I could see that.
I mean, it's just the way he wears the headband and like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It's just kind of like, is this guy real? Like,
I know. I mean, hey,
could he play in a Disney movie, or is this like a real basketball player? Like, he's definitely a real basketball player.
Yeah, for sure.
Right now,
but I know he's hit his ceiling. I feel like, like, hey, you know what? From walk on,
I'm kind of embarrassed that I brought up High School Musical again.
It's all right. It's hey. Took me a while to know what you were talking about, but at least I was able to put that together and not just leave you hanging.
Oh man. Well, anything else that you want to talk about from the Summer League game? Because like I said, I didn't really get a chance to watch it. I saw the Kam Jones highlights. I retweeted those from what the NBA put out on Twitter, and he looked really good. I mean, I really did like the all-around game that he played with today. Very good to see him have a high number and assist. And I actually went back and listened to that podcast you talked about with him on Jeff Teague's show.
Yeah.
It was fine. I mean,
All
you
right.
know,
To be honest, there was a lot of laughing going on in the background, and a lot of times that I don't want to sound like an old man, but I was getting distracted.
I
I was,
just thought it was all over the place, and
it was, it was.
they didn't really ask him much about his game. Like he said, he like told people that he compared himself to Nemhard. I don't really see much of Nemhard when I
Not at
watch him
all. He's
play.
Nemhard and Derek White. It's like, okay, all right. Like now I'm expecting that you're going to be a defensive stud in this league. Those are like two guys
He
that every
basically just wanted to be a combo guard, and he wanted to pick the two that have probably got the most popularity right now in the league. I mean, smart decision by him to say that.
Oh, totally.
Because if you hear that as a GM, you're like, oh, Derek White, like you really don't
Yeah.
care about being a star. You just want to be a good role player. Okay. Like
Yeah.
it's smart by him to say that. But I thought it was interesting that he did say that he knew the Pacers were going to take him when they traded up for 38. I thought that was
That
interesting
was cool. That was cool because then it clearly means that like he was the player Indiana coveted, and
for
like
a while. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean that's great, especially given we obviously know that draft workouts for the Pacers were not what they typically have been in the past. So I thought that was cool. But then, like I mentioned previously, him mentioning that he was a center in high school was just
Yeah.
kind of like not expecting that at all. For
Yeah. But it's cool though, because it definitely lets him kind of they ask him like Teague's like that's gotta help you with your rebounding, right?
Totally. And then that's what I thought. It was the first thing I looked at when he had 6 boards the other game. I was like, there you go, for former center. But good thing everything
Got more
worked
than
out.
Miles.
I mean, hey, if he's pulling 6 boards and Miles pulling 6 boards, and there's like a good 6-inch difference between them, and I'm happy with Kam Jones' rebounding capabilities.
Yeah, for sure. I think that Kam Jones is a talented player. I think that we've seen him get better each game, I feel like.
Definitely.
And so while he's getting better each game, I think Taelon Peter's kind of like started out hot and kind of cooling off.
Yeah.
Kind of giving you more like the Chris Duarte vibes when he was here, right? Started off hot, oh my God, Chris Duarte, rookie of the year, then slowly just faded
I
into
mean,
like out of the league. So
that
yeah,
first game against Charlotte, I mean, he set himself. That was like the peak of his life. Game one. There was no coming back from that. There was no topping that. It was truly all downhill.
27 points.
37 points. It was like one of the greatest debuts ever. And then all of a
The
sudden, it's like,
excitement from Chris and Quinn. I mean,
oh
I will never forget that game.
yeah. I mean, how could you not have real expectations after that?
I
And
was
then,
like, I am so stupid. Moses
yeah,
Moody.
I was like, yeah, exactly. And I was looking at it, what do I know? I mean, the guy could have been 40 for all we know. Draft him, and then after that, it was like, and that is why you don't draft a 24-year-old in the lottery. But for
Well, he just lost a shot after the ankle injury. It's like
I
once he got hurt against the Heat, I think it was Kyle Lowry undercut him or something. It was a really nasty ankle injury. And then ever since he went down, then he never really recovered from that. He had some moments, but nothing like he was doing before that because he was a lot better at the beginning. Didn't he have like a game time shot against the Lakers too?
I think he did, and I want to say I was at his career high, I believe, against the Nets. I'm gonna have to look this up because I'm pretty sure I was at a game where he dropped like 30, and I remember being like, "Wow!" We lost, obviously, because we were just losing every game that I was at. But it was definitely a moment. I'm gonna have to look this up while we're here because this is obviously a couple years ago. But maybe he got hurt at the game. It was one of the two. I think he balled out. And then maybe
You
he
just
got
said
hurt.
he either had his career high or he got hurt. I can't
I'm
remember.
pretty. I know. I'm pretty sure he like. Oh, I think no. This is what it was. I'm pretty sure this is what it was. I think he had a career high, and then in the next game was against Brooklyn. Nope, I'm looking at it right now. 30 points at a loss. That's what it was. I was there. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was the career high. It never
And a loss. Unbelievable.
in a loss while I was there. And I remember this. This is what happened because I was looking at it. It was the Pacers played Brooklyn back-to-back games. The first game they won, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to the next one. Like, oh, they'll win this game." And they lost, and Chris Duarte balled out, and yeah, and then that was pretty much the end of him. He got hurt the very next game and was out for like a month and a half. I'm looking at it right now, so it's like,
Yeah.
yes, trip down memory lane. What are you gonna
Yeah.
do?
No, it's a trip down memory lane, that's for sure. But speaking of trips down memory lane, Facci, I think this is a great way to
Good
transition
segue. Yes.
into our next topic. There's been a little bit of reporting from Jake Fisher that Victor Oladipo is looking for a return to the NBA. And I think the Pacers were one of the teams that watched him work out, according to this report that I saw. It has also been reported that the Pacers are the betting favorites to land Victor Oladipo if he were to make his return. And now I have to ask you, Facci, if the stars aligned in the 2017-2018 Victor Oladipo All-Star breakout, was he most improved that year as well?
Let's see what he was like.
Yeah.
It was like a clean sweep.
He
You
was
know, All NBA,
unbelievable
All
that year.
Defensive Player, Most Improved Player, All Star. Like it was like one of the best breakout years I feel like a
Yeah.
player's had.
And it's kind of crazy because like he was in Orlando, got traded to OKC, and then got traded to Indiana. You don't usually see guys like that have that type of a breakout season. I think it's kind of maybe similar to what Lauri Markkanen did when he moved on from Chicago to Cleveland, then went to Utah and had a really good first season there in Utah. I think there was some conversation about him being the most improved in Utah, at least a little bit.
Yeah, there might have been, but I just think the thing that like with Vic is he did it on both ends,
He
like
did.
ends of the floor, and I think that that was like incredibly impressive. I mean, all defensive first team that year. I think it was all NBA third team, but also just I mean like we pushed LeBron to 7, and that and it was like it was just a magical year. So a year that we always I think Pacer fans will always look fondly on. It helps to have the recent success that we've had so we can like stop always just looking at 27 and 2018 as like the glory days. But nonetheless, Alex, to pick up where you're at, I mean, yes, they're now saying Pacers, Oladipo, but it's I think all of us have a little bit of a different feeling because of this. It's been quite a few years since the marriage broke up. But we haven't heard Vic talk really positively about the Pacers at all. And I think that's kind of affected some fans to be like, come on, give me a break, or nah, I've been there, done that, this. And I feel like if he was more trying to like heal and talk about some of the good times, we'd be saying, hey, you know what? If anything, this could be the type of year to have that while, we're trying to figure some things out. So I'll throw the question to you. What would your thoughts be on a Vic reunion with the Pacers?
I think I'm all for it. The Pacers need. I'm just kidding, Facci. I'm just kidding. No, Victor Oladipo did not play all last season because he was hurt. He played 42 games the year before that, just 8 the year before, or excuse me, 12 the year before that. And no, maybe I'm all over the place. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. He played for like 6 teams one year. Sorry.
Yeah. I got it pulled up as
Yeah.
well.
Well, I was right. It was 8, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 8 games in that 2021-2022 season. It was the previous year
33.
where he played for 3 teams and it was the Pacers and Houston and Miami. But nonetheless, even in that year, he played like 31 games.
It was
So
33 games
33
that
games,
year.
33 games, and then the following year he played 8, and the following year he played 42. So I mean, you add all of those up, and you're talking about playing, taking 3 years to essentially play one NBA
Yeah.
season. Obviously, he didn't play last year.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm like kind of thinking. Like I know he wants to have a comeback. I know Tom Crean's kind of been in his corner rooting for him, and we love that Tom Crean loves his Indiana guys. Have no problem with that. And I know Oladipo was tweeting quite a bit. I think he even did some analyst work throughout the year as well, whether it's for ESPN or Fox or wherever he was at. I saw him in different places, but I like Victor Oladipo as a IU Hoosier. I like Victor Oladipo before we got hurt, and when he came back from the injury, he did some shady stuff when he asked the Miami Heat if he could play with them. Eventually finds his way there after getting traded to Houston in the Karis LeVert Kevin Durant trade. So was that the Kevin Durant trade? I think it was.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Yes, it
I'm
was. It was. It was. Yep. He was
okay.
involved when Durant going to Brooklyn and what went with Houston. So no, it was a James Harden trade.
It was
That's
a
what it
James Harden trade. Yeah, I was like, I didn't sound right. It was
was.
all over the place. There was a lot. Yeah, it was a James Harden from Houston to Brooklyn, and Oladipo went to the Rockets because they didn't want Karis LeVert, and the Pacers got Karis LeVert. And I remember going back and forth with a bunch of Rockets fans that year about, Karis LeVert's so much better than Oladipo. Well, I don't know if I agree with that. I was in my feels at that moment. I was so pumped for Karis LeVert, and that's kind of what helped us get our break with
That was big. That was a big episode for
Fox
us.
Sports Indiana. Remember that? We had Kevin Pritchard on the podcast, and he gave us an injury update on Karis LeVert. And then Jeremiah Johnson messaged me and said, hey, can you give me a quote from this podcast to share on the broadcast in Minnesota tonight? And I happened to be at church during the week during this time, and I ran to the bathroom, put my headphones in, and I sent him a transcript of our podcast that I had just released before I went to church. So it was just pretty funny to me because of how I was trying to get everything, and then I was at church when the whole thing went down, and I record the games on my DVR, and I'm getting blown up on Twitter like, whoa, shout out from Jeremiah Johnson for Alex Gold and Facci. Like,
Look
let's
up the
go.
video. It was super cool. Like
Yeah.
I don't even remember how many years in, maybe 2 years or something like that. So for us to like have that was like
It was like 3 or 4.
yeah, maybe it was. Time's flying. But I just
With 2
remember
kids, man, you don't know what's going on,
dude,
bro.
where am I right now? Who am I? But it's just that trade. I'm like, Harrison Ford, oh my God, but like I am truthfully rubbed a little bit wrong that all these years later, Oladipo has like never looked fondly back on his time. It's
No.
like, when people think of Victor Oladipo, they will always think of him as an Indiana Pacer. Like that's just going to be the team that is associated with him. And I just feel like he's got to embrace that. Like he should embrace that. Like he said, he went to IU. Like Indiana, there's people that loved Oladipo. But I think here's the thing. Anyone would be lying saying that he could be the same player or anything of the sort. And it would like hurt a lot of people to like bring him back and then have him like potentially not getting off the bench or being like the third string, at any guard spot. Like it's just like
Can you
sometimes
tell me? Can you even tell me if Victor was like whatever, like a role player tops, right? Like he could give like 15 minutes a night. Would you rather see him or would you rather see Furphy or Jers?
I, Furphy and Jarris.
Yeah, I mean Oladipo is older than me.
I mean,
He's
yeah,
already 33 years old.
I know.
So
I mean,
he's
look
just
how old
he's
I
not
am.
in his prime. He's past his
Same age as
prime.
me. It's just, yeah, no, he is. And here's the thing is like, actually, I got the stats pulled up. The last time he played, even basically about half a season, he played 42 games last time, but you have to go all the way back to 2018. He played 75 games. Other than that, it's 36 games, 19 games, 33 games, 8 games, 42. Like, there's just, he missed all of last year, and I think it's a terrible, terrible situation. Clearly, had some bad surgeries and stuff that just never healed right. But like knowing that he's not the guy anymore, I think it would be hard for him to come back to the Pacers and be an end of the bench type of guy trying to work your way back. I think he would want to go to a place where he can play and be able to like get his value back up, get a good contract, things like that. And I just think that right now with this group, we don't have that type of opportunity. If he went to like the Brooklyn Nets or like the Washington Wizards, if it always goes back to those two teams, it's like then
Your teams,
yeah, my teams.
the place you visit the most.
Hey, the cheapest tickets out there. I can tell you that. But like that's how it would be. But other than that, I mean, it's like I don't know if the Charlotte Hornets have an opportunity. Like it's slim pickings out here in the league.
I tell you what, I'd rather have James Johnson back on the roster before I'm rostering Victor Oladipo. I'm not even trying to knock Vic.
No, I think you're
I
right there.
just don't understand it. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. I understand people are enamored by the fact that Oladipo is this, former face of IU basketball and like huge former face of the Pacers for a couple of years, but like I have good memories of Vic. I don't really care about Victor and how he left anymore. I mean, it worked out for the better. The Pacers ended up getting Andrew Nimhard out of the Karis LeVert trade. So I'd rather have Andrew Nimhard and Ben Shepherd than have to worry about maybe keeping Oladipo when they did because that injury just completely derailed him. And I think he got a little bit too big for his britches
I
after
definitely
he had that great 17-18 season because he goes and does the Mass Singer. Remember that? We covered that. That was fun.
was
But the front office did not like that. They were not happy with him doing that because he's injured with that torn meniscus. Is that what it was? Torn meniscus? I think that's what it was.
torn quad tendon. I
That's
remember,
right.
but
Torn
yeah,
quad tendon. You're right. I
very
was wrong.
specific because I remember like looking at the people who have suffered from that, and it's like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, like Tony Parker was one of them, I think. And
Yeah,
nobody really comes back from
no,
it.
yeah, exactly. It was one of those that like it was a very
Yeah. And he's like limping around on the stage singing songs. Like he's got a great voice. I loved hearing Victor Oladipo
yeah.
sing. Maybe we'll throw a little clip in here at the end of him singing just for fun. But, it's a great story. But thank you for what you did for the Pacers. It's time to move on. If you want to come back and be an ambassador of this team and like we saw like the former alumni come back for the playoffs, then do
That would
that.
have been cool. I mean, actually, could you think about the healing moment that would have happened if Oladipo, they showed him on the Jumbotron at the NBA Finals? I think people would have been like, yo, you know what? I miss Vic. I might watch some highlights. I might get the jersey. I have a Victor Oladipo jersey. It's a true story that I have not worn since they traded him. Have not worn it. Not once. Not one
Does it
time.
still fit?
Yes, luckily I maintain myself. But
I
no,
didn't know.
take care of myself. But at the same point, there was just a little like it's a little bad taste in the mouth. That's kind of just like, you know what? I would rather rock a completely oversized Danny Granger jersey that I have, or
We've
like,
seen that one, buddy.
yeah, like a big Granger, or I have a very little Jermaine O'Neal jersey that is like skin tight. I got a lot of Jermaine jerseys, but that one's skin tight. I've worn it way more times than I've worn the Victor Oladipo jersey because I just don't like the way how things ended.
Yeah, I mean, the last memory I have of Vic was that Pelicans game on the road during that 2020-21 season. And I'm pretty sure that was Nate Bjorkgren. I can't remember. It all seems like a blur at this point. But I just remember him and Turner had like those big threes at the end there to have the comeback
Oh
run.
yeah, that was awesome. Now I do remember that.
Yeah,
That
we're
was
like, oh,
great.
Vic is back. And then like they traded him like 2 days
Yeah,
later. Yeah, it was
they
crazy.
did the right thing though, because I remember one that was a
Stock
big
was
win
high,
for the
baby.
Pelicans at the time. I remember that was like, wow, okay, hey, this is a nice win. And then two, like they did enough to be able to like Vic was still putting up good numbers early on in the year that like that was in reality the time to trade him. If they had
Mhm.
held on a little bit longer, I don't know, but like he did have opportunities along the way to sign contracts. Like Indiana wanted to keep him. We obviously know how that went down. The Rockets offered that like 2 year, $45 million extension or whatever it was. Like he turned that down too. And in the end, I feel like it's just like an unfortunate, version of someone betting on themselves and the bet not paying off, sadly.
All right, Pachi. Well, let's go ahead and move on from this. I think that we're both in agreement that Victor Oladipo is not the answer, and I think there's about 100 different answers we would probably go with before that. And I'm not ready to say who I would rather go with than Vic. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because it would take
Yeah.
forever.
Because
But we are.
yeah, a lot of names could be thrown out, and the bar could get lower and lower and lower in this. And it's like, here's what I would say. I would like to see Vic back in the league. I would like to see him back in the league. I think
Lakers.
I mean, wherever. I mean, wherever he wants to
We
go.
get to see him more.
The Lakers, you said?
If he's on the Lakers, we'll get to see him more on TV.
Sure, sure. But it's just, of course, it'd be the Lakers. It's like as if they can't, they already like took DeAndre Ayton and Alex Len and anyone else the Pacers are like rumored to be involved with. Of course, they got to
Don't
take
put
Vic.
him on the Bucks.
Yeah, not the Bucks.
That
We've
would
been,
actually kind of be funny. That would
but
be funny.
that would add another wrinkle to the rivalry. But I think in this point, like the man deserves to be in the league. It'd be cool. He doesn't want to go out the way that he went out. Hopefully, it works out and he's able to touch the court one more time, at least.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and close this one out with a fun segment that me and you debated on what we should do for about an hour today, I would say, kind of just trying to figure out the right topic to do because Facci and I used to love doing drafts. Mostly I love doing drafts and dragging Facci into it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Facci hates drafts. I love drafts. And so he's not a big draft guy. It's, you saw our draft coverage this year. Facci just not a big fan. But anyway, we're going to have Caitlin Cooper on in a couple of weeks. We might get to some more draft stuff with her because we always have fun drafting stuff with her. But
He loves a good
for
draft.
today's episode, we're going to be drafting a starting five of fan favorites in Indiana Pacers franchise history. So this is interesting because I would say if you're going to, judge how we draft, it should be judged based on how the fans like them versus their overall talent. So that is where we're kind of setting that stipulation up. Now, we have not decided the order of the snake draft. I'm going to give you the honors unless you want me to pick.
Hmm. Uh, Maybe I'll go first, but I do have one question though, because
Yeah.
you kind of talked about it. It's like there's certain players that I feel like can't be a fan favorite because they're too good. So, I think
I
that's
don't think
something
we
that
should make any rules on it because I think there's some players that are really good that are also like massive fan
I agree.
favorites.
There are some players that blur the line, and there's some players where I think it's like, oh, come on, that guy is way too good. Like
Well,
he's not a fan favorite. He's a favorite. Like he's beloved because he's
but it's
that good.
both. I mean, we'll discuss it. I don't think that we should rule it out completely. It does feel a little bit unfair. Maybe we just take one each that is a favorite that's a fan favorite as well. That fair?
Because if that's the favorite, then I mean if that's the case, then I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off, and I would have to go with Jermaine O'Neal because that is my favorite person on this
So you're
earth.
picking Jermaine first?
I would pick Jermaine first, second, third, and fourth if I
Okay.
could, and fifth. But here's the thing: I figured he was too good.
No, you
Considered
can
a
only
fan.
have one good one. So if you're not
Yeah,
taking him, then leave him off the board.
yeah. I would rather do Jermaine O'Neal even over like a Tyrese Halliburton or this because personally, he's my favorite
So
player.
you're picking him first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, this just made things a lot easier
Yeah,
for me.
I would rather give you a better pick than me miss out on Jermaine.
Okay, well, here's what I'll say. I don't have to pick my favorite till the end now.
No, it's true. And dude, did I? No, I probably jumped the gun a little bit, but like
Maybe a little bit.
I need Jermaine O'Neal.
Well, I think I just won the draft by you doing this.
Well, yeah, maybe.
My first pick, the Great White Hope, T.J. McConnell.
Yeah, definitely a good pick. He was towards the very top of my list, and
Okay.
I figure I know who your
And
next pick is.
do you know who my next pick is?
Yeah, definitely. I can't say it because what if I'm wrong?
Well, because you'll have the next pick if it's not. I already wrote it down.
I mean, I'm sure you did, and I'm sure I know who it is.
Well, say it. See if you can guess.
No,
Huh?
because then what if you change your mind? I can't.
I'm not changing my mind. I am locked in who I'm picking. You're not going to change my mind. Trust me.
All right, Lance Stevenson.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I would have picked Lance number 1 if it wasn't for Jermaine, but obviously in that
You could have. I wasn't going to pick Jermaine.
But if you did, I would have been hurt. I would have been hurt.
So I got T.J. McConnell and Lance Stevenson as my top 2 picks. I feel like I just won this draft.
Yeah, I mean, from a fan favorite standpoint, like, yeah,
Hard to top that.
That's definitely the criteria. Those are the top 2 names on my list. That's why I had to clarify when you're like, you could have one of those guys. It was like, okay, all right.
He said I'd pick Jermaine 1, 2, 3, and 4. So
I totally would have.
You can't be mad at your list. I mean, you like Jermaine. I mean, you can still build it up better than me. So let's see what you got next. You got 2 picks.
All right. So I'm wondering if I just go like, because the other guy would have been like borderline too good. It teeters on that. So I feel like it's more of like a good. I got to go like more of like a fan favorite. If we're going strictly off of just fan favorite, I'm gonna go Jeff Foster. I feel like Foster,
good pick.
like, it's one of those where he meets the criteria of like, come on, who's got a bad thing to say about Jeff Foster?
I like Jeff Foster. That was on my list. So
should be.
Yeah. So who's your next pick? You got back-to-back picks.
Yeah, I forgot. Fan favorite. I'll go with this because it's more of a fond memory, but I'm gonna go specifically Bubble Warren, TJ Warren.
Okay.
I feel like everyone looks fondly on the TJ Warren times. It was short. It was definitely short, but I think everyone will look back and go, Bubble Warren, yeah, what a guy.
That's an interesting one. I don't think I would put TJ Warren in my top 10.
I had some other guys that I was debating, but I felt like maybe I could have got him a little bit later.
Okay, Facci. I'm going to just keep going here with these role players that I have, and I feel weird like picking so many guys from this group of players because I feel like everybody on this team is likable. But if there's one player that these fans love, it's the security guard. It is James Johnson.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I'm picking James Johnson, man.
All right.
My next pick. I'm up again. It's a snake draft. You're worse than Brian Windhorst with these snake drafts.
I get antsy.
Okay. I'm torn between a couple of people because I'm going to save my best player for last because I don't have to pick him because you already picked your best one. I'm going to tell you which 2 names I'm torn between. And I don't know if what you're thinking, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm debating between Bojan Bogdanovic and Obi Toppin. I feel like Obi is a huge fan favorite. I mean, the amount of you were there, like the cheers he gets in a game.
Oh, definitely.
And like how he just interacts with the fan base is probably top notch. Like he's nicer than Tyrese Halliburton. Like,
no, he's nice. I love the whole lob that he does before the games and stuff like that, and like that's definitely like that's a fan for life.
Everybody loved Bogey in that run against the Cavs, but it was like a one-time thing. So it's kind of like, do I go that route or not? I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I'm missing from like in the 90s that was like a fan favorite, like an Antonio Davis or a Dale Davis. I feel like those 2 guys are definitely ones that are highly loved and they get a big cheer. But I said I feel bad going with this group, but I just think the fan base loves this group so much. I think I'd go Obi Toppin.
I was hoping you would because I'm going Bogdanovich. I was just I did not want to. I wanted to have my poker face on and be like, strong pick. But yeah, Boyan. Like I feel like it just. Yeah, I was hoping I'd be able to get him, so makes me feel good. But yeah, Obi definitely loved. I feel like just a very solid player that we're still living it through, and I feel like right now, like Obi to me, here's what I would say: we haven't heard Obi talk really positively about the Knicks at all. I feel like whenever the time comes and Obi's no longer with the Pacers, I think he's going to talk positively about the Pacers because they took a chance on him. They gave him life-changing money. Like they gave him that contract extension. Like he's had success here. I feel like he's really like loved his time in Indiana.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you have one more pick to close out your 5 here for your starting 5.
All right. So mm, I'll go with I'm gonna go with Thad Young. I'm gonna go with
That's a
Thad
good
Young.
pick.
I think that Thad Young is someone that like probably for too long people were still asking about. Like whenever there's an open spot, it's like, what about Thad Young?
Especially you.
I mean, look, he came on the show and he was super nice to us.
Yeah.
He was like super nice. And I remember it was one of those where like he was like the trusty vet during that 2017-2018 season. And ironically, we traded the pick that ended up becoming Karis LeVert for Thad Young. Ended up getting Karis LeVert. So interesting the way that it works out. But Thad Young, great guy, great locker room guy. Another guy that I don't think anybody can say a bad thing about. And come on, he's part of the one of the most infamous graphics of all time with some of the greatest players ever. I don't know how they really, made the stats work to make it all happen, but
Yeah.
it's infamous.
That's a good pick. I would say that the person that I would have potentially picked would have been Miles Turner. But because he wanted to be a traitor and go to the Milwaukee Bucks, he'll be on probably one of the most hated lists of all time. So
Hard to
Facci,
pick Turner. It's too soon. It's one of those where it's just he'd be
Yeah.
getting booed when you're talking about fan favorites right now.
yeah, he kind of ruined that moment that he could have had there. So I will say this for my final pick, for my fan favorite, it is one that ties all generations of fans together. It is a former UCLA standout. It is TJ Leaf. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I got you there. No, obviously I have to go with Reggie Miller. I debated between Reggie and Tyrese. Obviously, Tyrese, I think, is right up there with Reggie in terms of like your favorite Pacers of all time. Reggie just did it for 18 years. And the fact that like he was in the building for all those games, like it just
That meant a
connected
lot.
multiple generations. So I think that Reggie Miller, just right now, and at this point in their careers, is the fan favorite across all generations. Now, Tyrese Halliburton, if he finishes his career here as a Pacer, I think there's a chance that he becomes a bigger name
Good.
than Reggie. He's already a better player overall, in my opinion, and he already got this team further into the playoffs than Reggie did. And it took Reggie a long time to get that Pacers team to the NBA Finals. I mean, Tyrese did it in what, year 3 or 4 here? So
Only a second trip to the playoffs. So put it that way.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I'm just saying, for me, I love Tyrese. I hate leaving him off this list. But I think that Reggie for me has to be like the one like
100%.
fan favorite plus favorite of everybody.
If we were allowed, based on the criteria, to pick one of those, it probably would have been a crime to not have Reggie on the list. Like I feel like people who don't even know anything about basketball and just know the Pacers still go, oh, like Reggie Miller. Like it's like he's that guy that is still more like widely known across people that are like 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old. Like I feel like those type of fan bases. I think Tyrese here, to your point, could very well, one day maybe surpass him. We'll see what happens. But yeah, great pick. And going back to your point with Reggie being at the finals, I feel like all of us Pacer fans needed that because there was like that time for a long time where it's like, Reggie would come to a game when he's with TNT and he's like calling the game, but like he's a busy guy, like if you really want to boil it down, like, yeah, he doesn't have time. He doesn't live in Indiana. Like, doesn't have time to just like show up at a game if he's like calling a lot of the games on TNT. But to see him at all of those home games, also like repping the jerseys of his former teammates, sitting front row, like that was just so cool. And it really did feel almost like this is let's win this one for Reggie. Like it really did have that type of feel. So like, if we don't see Reggie Miller at a Pacers game for like a long time, I felt more connected to Reggie during that finals run than I have probably since he played for the Pacers, and we all needed that.
No, I definitely agree with that, Facci. Now, I want to ask you this as we wrap this up. Did you have any honorable mentions that we did not draft here quickly?
I did. A couple other ones. Dale Davis was towards the top of my list. Rick Smits, David West. I feel like those were guys that I'm like, okay, you know what? Like first I was wondering, like, are they too good? But at the same point, Smits was like a one-time All-Star with the Pacers. David West never made an All-Star game with the Pacers, so I felt like they were currently able to be drafted. Granger was the guy that,
Yes.
you know, I was like, he was one of those where I'm like, was he too good? Was he that? Once I picked Jermaine, I couldn't pick Granger. And then like these are more of like a lesser tier. Chris Copeland, Psycho T, Tyler Hansbrough. I feel like
Remember
those
those fan favorites? I feel like people didn't like them.
I agree. Like that's what I'm
I
saying.
think Buddy Hield could have been in that group.
Buddy Hield could have been. These were definitely like lesser tier. Like, oh, it's a fun name, but like no one was buying like the Chris Copeland jersey or like Tyler Hansbrough unless it was a big mistake.
Yeah, I was gonna say another name that I did not throw out, but I thought would be interesting. My guy AJ Price. Everybody loved AJ Price.
Everybody liked AJ Price, but you loved
I
AJ
still love
Price.
AJ Price.
I'll always give you that. I'll always give
Hey,
you.
if the Pacers need a third string point guard, I bet they should call AJ Price up right now.
Hey, you never the price is right, you know. So I feel like, hey, AJ Price, it was short while it lasted, but hey, I got respect for him.
Sarunas Jasikevicius was a name that everybody loved when he got drafted here.
Supposed to be a big deal coming off that Olympics run. I mean, I remember telling people like, just wait, like we got a guy, and it just didn't happen. I think he ended up being like all rookie second team that year, but he wasn't in the league for much longer.
Yeah. Anybody else maybe that we didn't mention? I'm just trying to think of other fan favorites because it's like you go across like our generation of people, and I'm trying to think of like outside of Jeff Foster, who did people love on that Pacers team that was kind of like meh, like going through the motions a little bit. Like Granger, I think, was part of it. Like when you're like the passing of the guard from from Reggie to Jermaine. Like Jermaine was a favorite, but I mean Al Harrington was one, I think.
Underrated one, only like a small. Anthony Johnson had a little bit of a
He did.
run.
That's a good run.
He had
That's a
that
good one.
40-point playoff
That was
game. I
fun.
remember that was crazy. Like it's nuts that he ranked so high in playoff scoring in a single game for so long for the
Mm.
Pacers.
Now there was one name I didn't bring up that was because he's too young and it's too early. But the pop that Johnny Furphy gets when he checks into a game at Gainbridge Fieldhouse is unbelievable.
Part of me kind of like for like half a second debated that just because it's like pure like prison of the
Prisoner of
moment.
the moment, Furphy baby.
Murphy's like the hot name. And you see Roy Hibbert's comment. Roy Hibbert was like, I hope he has more than one moment in his career, blah blah blah. And it's like, bro, he is literally 20 years old. Like,
Yeah,
we gotta give him time. This
yeah.
isn't like some end of the bench.
Roy's a fan favorite.
Yeah, who's that? Roy Hibbert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, two-time All-Star.
Yeah.
Like, one of the more interesting two-time All-Stars. Because I
I
feel
think with Roy, his ending kind of was sour because Larry Bird's like, well, Lance ain't stealing his rebounds, and they trade him to the Lakers, and then it was just kind of like to crap. And I didn't think Sabonis was really personable enough for people to like him that much.
now
People liked him, but
he
like,
put up the stats, but like I just feel like there was never this like I don't know. He was missing something like connection wise.
mhm.
Indiana, and I would imagine he probably doesn't have that connection right now with Sacramento. Like I
Yeah.
feel like he's just not like Halliburton, who his smile can like light up a whole room, and you see him at all the games, WNBA games and high school games and this and that. Like that man is out and about, and I feel like Sabonis just I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, let's just do a quick recap of our draft. Facci, you picked Jermaine O'Neal, Jeff Foster, TJ Bubble Warren, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Thad Young as your 5 fan favorites. My 5 fan favorites were TJ McConnell, Lance Stevenson, Reggie Miller, James Johnson, and Obi Toppin.
I think by the criteria, I think your team would check more boxes. It
I
would
would
be
agree.
more fan favorites. All I ever needed was Jermaine. That's all I needed. So I got Jermaine. Other than that, I feel like some people will have some fond memories of some of the other players, but I think that like Reggie Miller is worth 2 or 3 players. He's you got to triple team that man as it relates to fan favorite. And then I feel like Lance and TJ like. That's a ferocious.
Lance said that he felt like he was God when he came back here.
Yeah, I mean, Lance is always going to get love. I just don't think that's going away anyway. That's a 3-time pacer we're talking about.
We probably will see fans at some point saying they should bring Lance back for the final.
If things get
roster spot.
ugly, they will. And I think there was times where I at least felt like we were all hurt, and that's what was great because that Lance reunion was like
It slaps.
Got to remember that first quarter against the Nets where he dropped like 20 in the first or 18, whatever it was,
20.
just hitting all these shots. It was just like it was just so like hit you in the feels. Exactly. So
Yeah.
Lance Stevenson, always good in our books. And I love the fact that he just like comes back like often. Like he still truly does.
Yeah. He's become a Naptown boy.
Yep.
So I love that. So with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. Obviously a little bit different. We talked Summer League. We talked Victor Oladipo. I think his run could have been a fan favorite one as too, but I'm just going to say we're not going to do that right now because of how he left. But anyway, we talked Summer League. We talked Victor Oladipo rumors to the Pacers, and we also did a fun draft. So if you guys have any draft ideas that you would like me and Facci to do, whether it's with a guest or whatnot, then let's do that. I did post a picture of our Tony draft that we did about a couple of years ago with Tony East, where we drafted fictional or non-fictional characters with the name Tony. And I put some suggestions out there, like what's the next draft the three of us should do. And they replied with an Alex draft. So we might have to do an Alex draft of famous Alexes, So we'll get to you eventually, but there's a lot more Michaels out there than there are Alexes, I feel like.
There is. Yeah, no, it's
But not a lot of Faccis.
no, there's really not. It's up to me to make a name for myself. All right, so I got to
We'll just
make.
draft the Facci family.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to make the name famous one day. So therefore, there might be a Facci to be drafted.
Yeah.
But hey, for today, this is what we got. Obviously, a little bit of a lighter news day. This is when you enter the
For
dog.
today, this is what we got. Sound like it's so depressing.
Yeah, no, but hey, this is where
It's good
you
content,
enter.
man. We were like an hour in
No,
almost.
we had some good laughs and stuff, and I think this is a fun activity and a good trip down memory lane for a lot of players, good and bad. So I think that's good. And Summer League getting a little spicy for that last spot. So got to stay tuned. Coming up against the Pelicans, the final game, final opportunity to make any sort of imprint or impact. And I think that let's see what happens between Enrique Freeman and Taelon Peter.
And the Pacers winning does continue our streak with having Cammy on the podcast and being followed up by a victory. So shout out Cammy for coming on yesterday. I enjoyed talking with Cammy. He was a little bit under the weather, so didn't have as much pep in his step. But I think that sometimes, with Cammy, a little bit less is more. So I thought he was really good yesterday with his thoughts on everything. But with that being said, Facci, we're going to keep things moving. Jakar Sampson, shout out for 3 episodes in a row. Just got to do it to keep the streak going. Maybe we'll just make this a running joke until we don't have time to keep doing it. But Jakar Sampson, shout out. Thanks for all you did for the Pacers over those years. You were a fan favorite of ours during that time. So with that being said, though, Facci, we're going to take a break. We'll be back on Sunday with a very, very important episode. Pacers general manager Chad Buchanan is going to be joining us on the next episode of Setting the Pace. And so we're going to have to ask a lot of hard questions, a lot of stuff coming in to this next season. So looking forward to that. But with that being said, Facci, if you're hoping the Pacers beat the Pelicans in the final game of Summer League to get a winning record, hit me with those 3 words.
Let's go, Pacers.